So hello and welcome everyone back to my channel. So today's project we're looking at this acrylic box, and this acrylic box is a very useful project because it can be adapted to pretty much any project where you want to hide mechanisms or electronics and have them at the same time easily accessible. So it's a very useful project. So the main focus of it is the box, and in this particular one, what I've done is I've modeled an acrylic piece, and in this project, the LEDs from underneath would shine through to illuminate a logo on this acrylic piece. But as I said, it's a very useful project that can be used as a base in a lot of different projects. Now, as you will see from the sheet here, there is two variations of this that I have modeled. One has a horizontal cut, and that's this one here on the right hand side. And you can see the open version of it here with the battery inside it and whatever other mechanisms that you might want to conceal within it. And this one here is just a variation of that. This one has cut at an angle just for a different design, and you can see it up here again in the open position. So this can be adapted to many different designs. It can be made wider and longer to suit your individual project. But as I say, it's very useful. So just to look at the two samples of it, that's the sample with the horizontal cut, and this is the sample with the angled cut. So what we're going to do when we're modeling these projects is we're going to model the box as one full piece, and then we're going to cut it probably with the bandsaw. So the teacher will cut it, in this case I will cut it, and then you will fix the pieces to the inside. So if we were to open it, you can see the pieces are then fitted to the inside, and you can hide your electronics. So we just cut this outside box in two, fit the inner red pieces, and then the top can come up and down like so. And same with this one. Top can lift off just like that and back on. So we're going to go about making that now. So just to mention, if you haven't already viewed this video, Onshape 101 video 2, that was one of my earlier videos, and that looks at a very important feature that we'll be using in this, and that's the laser joint feature. So hopefully you have already done a couple of pieces utilizing the laser joint, and if you have, that'll be great. If you haven't, I'd strongly recommend that you go and look at the laser joint feature and then come back and watch this video. So as always, we're navigating to a new part. We're creating a new document. We're going to call this I'm going to call this sample box 1, because the one I've already created down here, as you'll see, is the sample box. And we're going to model that. So this should open our new part. Okay, so we're going to start on the top plane, and we're going to click the top plane and normal to, again using the in key on our keyboard. We're going to sketch, and we're going to draw a rectangle, a corner rectangle, and we're going to draw it out. And we're going to dimension this, let me see, 200. We'll fit that to the page using the F key on the keyboard, and we'll make it 100. Okay. Yeah, that looks about right. So what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this, and we're going to extrude this to 5 millimeters. Okay, a new part, that's fine, and click OK. So now what we have is we've that top piece of our box. Okay, normal 2. So when you're modeling this, you can choose whatever dimensions you want. You can have it wider and longer if needs be to suit your project, but this is just the dimensions I'm going to go with for this project today. Okay, so the next thing is very important. We're drawing a sketch again. We're clicking on the top surface of this box. And what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to draw a corner rectangle. I'm going to start from this top corner. I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to snap it onto the end. Dimension that to 5 millimeters. And now you can see that this is fully defined. Okay, so this piece is fully defined. Why? Because we know the length of the piece because we've already had inputted that dimension when we were drawing the top piece. So we know the length. So all we had to do was put in the width. To speed things up, I'm going to do the far side at the same time. I'm going to dimension this, or draw this rather, and again, put in the dimension 5 millimeters. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to extrude these. Okay, I don't want to add parts. I want I want this to be a new part, and you'll see them appear down here as part 2 and 3 when I add these as new parts. Okay, and they've popped up here. Let's say we want this roughly to be, let's say 60 millimeters. Okay, so if we move this to the side, we can see it. Now, what I want is I want the piece not to be coming up from the top. I want it to go down through the part. So if I flip the direction, opposite direction, and this is very important, and you'll have seen this in the previous video, this new part now is drawn on the top plane, but it's coming down, intersecting with this part, and that's very important for the laser joint feature. So I'm going to click OK to that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the laser joint feature, and you'll have it installed if you have watched the previous video. So laser joint feature. It's going to ask me what parts I want to laser joint. That part, and this part. There we go. So we'll see here there is 3 pins. Okay, I can change that to any number. I could change that to 2. So there's 2 pins. I could change it to 6, and you'll have a lot more. 3, I think, is just a nice number, and that'll just work fine for what we're doing here. So I'm going to click OK to that. So straight away, I've got part of this box done. Okay, I'm happy with that. The next thing I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to look at the top of the piece. Okay, so looking on the top plane, and again, I'm going to sketch on the top plane. And I'm starting on the top corner, and I'm going to draw this out. And I'm going to do the same here, and I'm going to dimension both of them together to be 5 millimeters. Okay, brilliant. I'm happy with that, and I can go ahead and extrude them, and again, make them new parts. Make the distance 60 millimeters, and we're going to flip the direction. Now, if I didn't have these pieces intersecting, then I couldn't do the laser joint feature. Okay, so they have to be intersecting. I click OK, and I'm going to laser joint this piece, and this piece. Now, I think for this side, it's probably not long enough. I'm going to just make it 2 maybe on this side and see. That looks a little better. I think that's fine. And I'm going to add maybe, well, I'll do this one first. And then I'm going to add another laser joint feature. Just for clarity, I'm going to add it as a separate feature. Could do it all together, but it'll just be easier to see if I add a different one. And again, 2 looks appropriate here. So that's pretty much the box done there already. Okay. So the last thing we need to do is we need to do let me see, we need to do the bottom of the box. So let's look at the bottom. Okay, let's draw a sketch. Let's draw it on this surface. Any one of these surfaces would do. Okay, again, rectangle. starting on that corner and dragging it down to the far corner. If I do that, it'll already be fully dimensioned because it knows the size of the pieces that we've put there already. We're going to extrude this. We can see our extrude is going the wrong direction. We want to extrude it up, and again, 5 mm. Okay. And if we extrude it up 5 mm, there we go. We can now laser joint this like we did previously. So let's laser joint that bit, and that bit. Let's retry that. Didn't seem to give us a preview. So we're laser jointing this bit and this bit. There, it's showing us the preview now. And this bit. Excellent. Okay, and I'm happy with that. That is fine. And finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to laser joint these bits, and I'm going to change this back to 3 because this is the long side. So I'm going to laser joint this bit, and this bit. Excellent. And again, I'm happy with that. Okay. Now, okay, so that looks pretty good. The only thing maybe that we could change here is if we notice this bottom bit now is not the same distance as this top bit. So we could go in and change it, make it 5 mm longer to allow for the this bit here that we've extruded back into the piece. So we could go back and do that. So I might just go and do that now, just to have it even. So what would I need to do? Well, I'd need to change these side pieces, the distance of them, of the extrudes. So let me do that very quickly. Oops, that's not the right one. It would be this one. So I could make it 5 mm longer, which should have the desired effect. If I make it 65. And yeah, I think that has evened it up now. Yeah, so that looks even now. Brilliant. Okay. So now I'm pretty happy with this piece. If I look at it in isometric, I've got a nice box. It does look a lot longer than it is wider. I think ideally, maybe if we impacted a sketch and made it a little bit wider, 200 by 140 might be a little better. Let's go with that. And that's the beauty of CAD, of course, is that I can always go back in and make amendments and change this to suit my needs. So once I have it drawn, I can always make small changes and amend it. Okay, so that's probably a better fit for what we'll need. Okay, excellent. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to insert a plane. And I'm going to insert this plane. I'm going to, there's a couple of ways I could insert the plane. I'm going to use 3 points. So we need 3 points. So this point is in the middle, this point is in the middle, and any of these points are in the middle. So now I have a plane that's running straight across the middle of my project. Okay, I'm happy with that. And brilliant, we can see the plane. So what we intend to do is, when we're making this project, we want to make this box exactly as it is here. So we're going to laser out all the parts. We're going to fix them together. We're going to glue them together, and then we're going to run it through the bandsaw. So I'll cut this in the bandsaw, and we're going to insert this cut now. So what I'm going to use is a split command. And if I search for it up here, split, there we go. So what is it asking me? It's asking me the parts, surfaces, or curves to split, and what do I want to split it with? So what I want to split it with is the easy bit. I want to split it with the plane that I just put in. And what do I want to split? Well, the whole lot. So all those parts. Okay. Now, what we'll notice here is we're after getting a whole lot more parts down here. We also have some uh, further options here. It says to keep both sides. Well, if you select that you don't want to keep both sides, you can just select to keep one of the sides. Um, so that would be an option, but I think I'm going to keep, and you can see you have obviously half the parts if you're only keeping, either the bottom or the top of the box. Um, so we could do either. We could just keep the bottom half, or and insert that in our assembly, um, or we could keep both. I think we might as well keep both. So I'm going to keep both, and I'm going to click accept. Now I'm going to hide this plane just so we can see a little bit clearer what's going on. Okay, so now we have the box, and as you can see, it is cut in two, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, and let's just view this in isometric. Okay, excellent. So that should be a little bit clearer now. The next step, of course, is our assembly. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to create assembly of this. Let's insert our box. Now, just click insert, leave it there. If, again, if we go to bring it in, it'll start jumping to different parts. We just want to leave it there in the center, so there's no need to move around. Go there and click the green arrow to accept that. Now, obviously within the assembly, we have all our 10 parts, but all these parts are not mated, and this is going to take just a few minutes to mate all these parts. So let's figure out how we're going to do this. So we just have to pick a side to start with. For example, let's pull out this, and let's start inserting our mates. So if we start with this one, okay, and we insert a fastened mate. All of these will be fastened mates. There's no movement. Let's click the center of that, and that's going to mate up against the center of this piece. Okay, and now they are together as one piece. Let's do the same and try get the top all mated together. So let's zoom in, mate the center of that with the center of that because they're touching. Very good. Let's fit that. Let's pull out this piece and pick any one of these. So we can pick this one, the center of that, and the center of that. Okay, and this one obviously needs to be done as well. So I'm going to make the center of that. I need to flip it around and do the center of this. Okay, and all that now is moving as one part. Brilliant. Okay, so the top half of that box is now all mated together, and we just need to do the bottom. So let's do that. So let's maybe mate the center of this with the center of this, and click OK. And let me see. Now maybe if we pull this bit out, let's make the center of this, and where is that going to go? In fact, let's not do that part. Let's do this one, it'll be easier. Center of that is going to be mated against the center of that. Super. Let's see. Okay, so these are the bits that are mated together, that are moving as one. Let's zoom in, and the center of this with the center of that. Very good. So if I move this now, okay, it's just the bottom that is not mated. So let's pick the center of that, turn it around, and mate that with the center there. Brilliant. Okay, and we can close our fasten mate. Now, all these pieces, the top half and the bottom half, they all move as one. Brilliant. Um, Now, one other thing that I suggest doing is actually putting in one more mate. And if I mate maybe this corner and mate that corner to the origin, that will just help the box not to be moving all over the place. So the bottom is just fixed now. So that's good. Okay, so that is nearly the box complete. Okay, except for what we're going to do when we get to this stage is we're going to insert the inner parts. And we have to model them now. So let's go back and do that. I'm just going to hide my mates there to make it look a little bit neater. So if I go back to my original part and check our original sketch. So our length was 200. And then of course on top of that, we drew the 5 mil on either side for the side pieces. So that's bringing it down to 190. And again, if we take 10 millimeters off this for the sides, it would be 190 and 130. So they're the pieces we need, 190 and 130. So let's create a new part. Create Part Studio. And let's name this actually so that we know this is the long inside part. Okay. And we can draw this on the front plane, might be the easiest this time. Normal top, sketch, corner rectangle, and I think we had said 190. Brilliant. And the height, let's try 55 millimeters for the moment. Okay, and extrude this as a new part to 5 millimeters. Excellent. Okay. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to edit the appearance of this, and just like I had in the sample, I'm going to make this a red just to give the inside bit a nice visible appearance. I'm going to hide those planes. Okay, that's that bit done. And I'm going to create one more part studio. Create part studio. Again, I'll do this on the front plane. Normal toe, sketch, corner rectangle. I think we said the distance here was 130. We're going to use the same height, which I think was 55 that I just used. Extrude this 5 millimeters. And that is fine. I got to rename this part. Right click and rename. Inside, actually, short inside part. Okay. And again, what I'm going to do is going to make this a nice bright red part. Edit appearance, make it red. So we have a nice color on the inside part. Okay. Now let's go back to our assembly and insert these parts. So if I click insert, I can now see that I have long and short inside parts. So let's bring in this, and we will need 2 of them. So that should be fine. I'll do the short ones when I've this done. So I'm going to insert a fastened mate yet again. I'm going to just click the middle of that, and I'm going to click the middle of this. Now, as we can see, that probably wasn't the best idea because it's not mating. I could put in an offset, but I think the easiest way of doing that would actually be to just click the bottom of it. So maybe that point might be much. No, let's go one more actually. Let's try the corner. Corner might be the easiest of all. Without using offsets. I could, of course, click the offsets. So I'm going for the corner now. I need to click on that corner. Brilliant. Okay, so that has put it in exactly where I need it without using offsets. And I need to do the very same on the far side. So let's click this corner. I want the flatmate connector. There we go. That corner. And that corner has to line up with this corner in here. There we go. Flatmate connector in there. And let's go out and look at this and see. Yes, brilliant. And try an isometric view just to bring it into focus. Excellent. So now what I've got to do is I've got to insert the short sides. And again, I will need two of these. And there we go. So I have two of them inserted. I'm going to rotate this around. If I click on it, I get this image here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this around to 90 degrees. So it's roughly as it should be. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and out using the rollerball in my mouse. I'm going to use a fasten mate, fastening this left-hand corner to this bottom corner here. And I need to get the flat mate just like so and accept that. Okay, brilliant. That's just as I wanted. Okay, we have a small mistake here because I obviously didn't allow for the distance of these, but I can go back and change that afterwards. So I'll do that in just a second, but I might as well insert the other one before I do so. So click on the piece, rotate it around 90. Oh, that's the wrong way, obviously. Grabbing it this way, rotating it around 90 degrees, just so it's roughly in position. And let me see, this corner, if I mate this corner with, if I zoom in, this corner. Super. Now again, this has gone back to how important or how easy to use CAD is. So this didn't allow for the thickness of this piece on the right and this thickness on the left. Oops, what have I done? That was unintentional. So let's just get out of this before I move anything around. Okay, so it didn't allow for the thickness of this piece and this piece. So it's got to be reduced by 10 millimeters, these two side pieces. So if I go back into the short side piece, I edit my sketch, and instead of 130, it should be, oops, 120. Now, this hopefully should be the correct length. When I go back, this should update, and yes, it does. It's all updated now. Sometimes you will see, if a change doesn't come in, this symbol here with the circular arrow. You might need to click that for the updates to take effect, but in this instance, it has updated for me, so that's absolutely fine. Now we're almost there. There's just one more thing I need to do, and that's put in another mate to show that the box can open and close. So that's going to be a slider mate. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to pick a corner. So if I pick, let's say, this inside corner here and click that, okay, and if I turn it upside down, that is going to be mating against this outer corner here. Okay, and if I solve that, that's fine. So this slider mate should do exactly what it says. It should allow the top to slide up and down along that. Of course, the only problem here is the top. There's no restrictions on how far up and down it can go, and it's going actually straight through the piece, which obviously in reality it wouldn't be able to do. So we need to put in some limits. So next we're going to go back in and we're going to edit this mate. I'm going to click limits. Um, the minimum limit I'm going to say is 0. So now it's going to go down no further than the close position. So it can't go through it. Obviously, it can't do that in reality. And I'm going to allow it to go up 150 millimeters. And I think that should be fine. So now, if I grab the top of the box, it can't go down any further. And that's the way I want it. And it can go up, but it can only go up to 150 millimeters. So just enough to show it's open. Excuse me. And so it can open to that height just to show that we can open it, and then it can close. So open and close. Brilliant. Okay. Now, of course, we still have a problem here. The problem is that when the box is closed, ideally I want the box to show a little bit of the red as a design feature. Now we could have it obviously closed the way it is, but I would much prefer if we had a little gap like I had in my part. And again, this is easy to do. All we need to go back is to go back and modify our pieces here, to modify the height of them. So if we go back and modify the height of our long and our short piece, let's make this 10 mil higher and accept. Now if we do the same with the short part, go back to our sketch, edit, and so we've already done that one. Apologies. So that's the short one. Now if we click our long one, okay, so let's just click in here again, edit 65, that should be fine. So that's our long one. Let's go to our short one, sketch, edit, and that's 55. That needs to be changed to 65 and enter. Okay, now if we flip back to our assembly, brilliant. I think that's a much better look, and that's what I'd be going for. Okay, so that is pretty much everything. Now, of course, we could take time to go and change the colors of all the individual pieces to kind of a similar sort of a blue and leave the middle red if we so wished. But I'm not going to spend any time on that in this video. The last thing I will show you though, if you would like to insert your electronic components. So whether you're utilizing a mechanism like gears, a simple gear train, or maybe a worm and worm wheel, or whatever the case it might be, or even some electronics like LEDs, you will need a battery and a battery snap. So I'm going to show you how to insert that. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert, but it's not going to be from this particular project, because these are the parts we have in this project. We're going to select Other Documents. Within Other Documents, we are going to go to back, and we're going to select on Costa Riga. When I select Costa Riga, you'll see 3 folders at the top, and in these 3 folders I have some common components that we are utilizing. So let's put in batteries and connector. Let's put a battery and a battery snap in. It's not a part, it's an assembly. So if we switch across to assembly, we will see it. And when we click that, we can just drop it in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to just accept that, insert a fasten mate. I'm going to select the mate connector on the bottom, and I'm going to select the mate connector here in the middle. I'm going to turn it around and solve there. I think that's fine. And I want to offset it so that it's over to the left hand side. So I think that should be along the x-axis. And if I, well, 100 obviously is too much. About 60 I think would be nice. Okay, so there we go. And click OK. So now if you're using motors, for example, you could insert a motor. So if I go back here, or if you're inserting LEDs or whatever the case might be, let's just say, for example, in this project, we're using a motor. We could go in here and select our yellow motor and go to assemblies and pull that in if we needed it. But I think for today, that is just going to suffice the battery snap. So just to recap very quickly, we've modeled our box, we've allowed it to open and close within set parameters, we've inserted our battery snap, and um, I'm going to let you um, add this onto a drawing sheet. So thanks very much for your time, and best of luck with this project.